So it's glittering, and again, the recipients, well deserved, but officially the city's open. This week, though, the Wall Street Journal reports there's a lot happening behind the veil in Wuhan. It says, quote, in the past few days, however, it has tightened restrictions on some housing complexes and said others will remain in place after confirming dozens of new asymptomatic cases. An official newspaper said Monday there could be 10,000 to 20,000 such cases in Wuhan, and the report was swiftly deleted online. These kinds of stories keep coming out and out. Let me share one more, and then I want to bring in an expert who can explain what's going on. The Washington Post had this head scratcher. It comes from one of the top investigative news outlets in China. They said, quote, officially the death toll in Wuhan has stalled at a little over 2,500, a detail repeatedly highlighted by China's foreign ministry. But something didn't add up, Saixin noted. One local crematorium in the city has been operating 19 hours a day, and in just 2 days, 5,000 urns were delivered to the establishment. Some reports put the death toll closer to 40, up to 60,000 people. The rest of the world is relying on accurate data from China to plan their response. How can that happen, considering what we're hearing? And could this lead to a second outbreak? I got the analysis and original reporting of Olivia Enos, a China expert with the right-leaning Heritage Foundation. Olivia, your report is eye-opening, talking about the censorship of Chinese citizens from blogs to exchanging medical supplies. And of course, that's not only someone's ability to speak, but also other people's ability to know what's happening.
Right from the get-go, we saw the Chinese government suppressing civil liberties like freedom of speech. We saw them silencing Dr. Li Wenliang, who was one of the first individuals to notice the emergence of COVID-19. And we now know that he actually died of COVID-19. But there were several Chinese citizens who were not able to take the necessary precautions, given the infectious nature of the novel coronavirus, to be able to stop this. And we've seen the Chinese government not only suppressing freedom of speech, but also shutting down civil society and their ability to respond in the midst of this very serious pandemic.
But you're saying that's not only in the past, you say it's still happening.
That's right. It's ongoing, and we even saw this happening historically. During SARS, there were whistleblowers who were similarly silenced. Even now, we saw, earlier this year, individuals who were bloggers, for example, who were giving us on-the-ground evidence of what's taking place in China. And those individuals were allegedly placed into quarantine, but that happened several months ago. Quarantine lasts, we know, between 15 and 21 days, but these individuals seem to have disappeared permanently. So this begs the question of what can the U.S. do in order to ensure that individuals in China have their civil liberties protected? And I think the answer is, as the top single country donor, we've given over $1.3 billion in assistance to China. We really should be pressing for greater access for the CDC, but also pressing the Chinese government to respect the civil liberties of the Chinese citizens.
We know there's this phone app, I guess, that everyone has to download where it's either green or red, whether you're allowed to undertake an activity based on your threat or risk assessment health-wise. Does that work? Are you concerned about that?
I think there are a lot of concerning things about the Alipay Health Code app, which, as you mentioned, is a huge invasion of privacy. Essentially, it shares very private data about an individual, including their location, their travel patterns. And the Chinese government itself will often ask people whether or not they are a member of the Chinese Communist Party in order to determine their so-called susceptibility to getting COVID-19. We know that these are not reliable factors for determining somebody's vulnerability to contracting the virus. But what we do know is that the Chinese government is deploying surveillance technology and has been deploying surveillance technology for incredibly pernicious and sinister purposes for a long time now.